The main thing I do not like about Spider-Man in the MCU is that he was too over-reliant on having a mentor like Iron Man, because that completely contradicts the early years of 616 Spider-Man in the comics. Because when Spider-Man was 18, after he was bit by the radioactive bug that turned him into the hero we all know and love, Spider-Man was more of a lone wolf in his early years of his career. Spider-Man, he did not really look and seek out for any type of partnership, any type of help. Sure, yeah, he's had some team ups here and there in his early years as a career, and there's a time that he even wanted to join the Fantastic Four when he was broke as a teenager before reaching college. He did temporarily ask to join because he thought that the Fantastic Four paid their teammates, but they quickly declined his offer because they told Spider-Man that, look, we do not pay our teammates as heroes. We don't do this for money. We do this because we actually want to care about the people. And yes, that also aligns with Spider-Man. Spider-Man wants to help people because that's his responsibility. Spider-Man really loves saving people. He loves being a hero, but at the time he was broke. And he never really joined the Avengers in his early careers. Like I said, he also had some team ups with other heroes as well. But when the Avengers tried to get Spider-Man to join their team, when they offered Spider-Man an invitation to the team, he declined them. Spider-Man declined the Avengers. Spider-Man never really had a mentor type figure that was an already established hero that was looking out for Spider-Man, that was helping Spider-Man out, that was giving him tips, that was giving him tech, that was giving him a lot of lessons and advice. The reason why I'm saying all of that, the reason why I'm yapping and telling you the brief backstory of Spider-Man in the 616 comics in regard to his relationship with other superheroes, is because I'm tired of seeing this trend that the MCU has started, making Spider-Man so over-reliant on help. Ever since the MCU dropped and we saw Spider-Man Homecoming, we started to see that Spider-Man needed a mentor in Iron Man. Hell, this even started all the way back in Captain America Civil War during Spider-Man's first ever appearance, and he helped out Team Iron Man. Look, I love Captain America Civil War. Captain America Civil War is a 10 out of 10 movie, despite having a lot of comic inaccuracies. You know I am a comic accurate guy. I love when something is comic accurate to a T, but even though Civil War wasn't really accurate in terms of being accurate to the comics, their story was great. But one thing I noticed while I was watching that is that Spider-Man did not defect from Team Iron Man to Team Captain America like he did in the comics. And the reason why I'm talking about that, because Spider-Man's relationship with Iron Man still continued in Spider-Man Homecoming, where we saw that Spider-Man was gifted his real Spider-Man suit from Iron Man, instead of Spider-Man crafting the suit by himself like he did in the 616 comics. Spider-Man, he was given his classic suit by Iron Man, and Iron Man even took away this suit because he was starting to see that Spider-Man's moral values did not really align with being a hero. He did not really take it as serious as Iron Man thought that he would. And even in Avengers Infinity War, even in Spider-Man Far From Home and Spider-Man No Way Home, we're seeing that Spider-Man is still rocking the Iron Man suit. Spider-Man, he is still rocking the Stark Industries inspired suit. And I've been praying to the Marvel gods, I've been praying to Kevin Feige that, please, man, can you please stop this trend? But it seems that my prayers were not heard. It seems that my prayers were disregarded. It seems that my prayers were slapped in the face, because in your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, we're seeing this trend continue where Spider-Man is over reliant on a mentor type figure. But this time it's not really Iron Man in the sense, It's Norman Osborn, and we're seeing that Spider-Man, every time he is fighting someone, he always asks Norman Osborn for help. Now, this is a trope that I did not like in the Flash TV show, because every single time when Barry Allen was fighting a villain, hell, even fighting some crooks and some criminals, he would always ask Cisco, or he would always ask Killer Frost for help every single encounter, even if he was fighting some bank robbers. So I do not like these type of heroes always needing help, especially when in the comics they literally do things on their own. And this entire rhetoric, this entire status quo is evident in the new episodes of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, episode 6, episode 7, and episode 8. Because episode 6 starts off with Peter Parker. He is still trying to be a good friend towards Nico and towards Harry Osborn, and he is trying his best to make sure that they can feel that they can also become friends as well. But the thing is that Nico, she doesn't really want to be friends with Harry Osborn. She kind of sees Harry Osborn as like a stuck-up, pompous type of celebrity figure that looks down on the people. But what she does not realize is that Harry Osborn is not really that. Harry Osborn actually just wants friends. He just wants people that he can connect with, because sure, yeah, he's this big celebrity figure. He doesn't really have any type of affection at home. He gets ignored by Norman Osborn, his own father, and every time he gains friends, the friends always just tries to use him for clout or for money or for this and that. So when we see that Peter, he now sets up a kind of a get-together, but like a hangout at Peter's house, and he sets this up because he wants all three of them to get closer with each other as friends. And we see that Aunt May, she leaves, and she leaves the kids with movies, with food, and with snacks so that they can have fun together. So as she leaves, we see that Harry is still kind of having some cold feet with Nico, but he's trying his best to get to know Nico. But Nico, she doesn't really want anything to do with Harry at first. She is so cold towards Harry. So I like how in the 3 episodes they gradually made Nico's and Harry's friendship blossom. But the thing is, their friendship blossomed at the cost of Peter's friendship with Nico, because during this, Norman Osborn, he is attending this important dinner with a lot of these big name people. I'm talking about the most powerful people in New York, and one person that was there is Thunderbolt Ross, aka in this universe Secretary Ross. But Norman goes to Thunderbolt Ross and he basically introduces himself, and it seems like they know each other. And as they're discussing, I'm seeing that Ross, he is looking down on Norman. He talks about Norman's wages, he talks about Norman's income, and he basically is passively belittling Norman. But Norman has an offer for Ross. He tells Ross that, look, I have this hero because I know what happened with the Sokovia Accords. Now that the Avengers have to register as heroes now, and if they don't, they will be punished by law. But I have this new hero in New York, and this new hero is Spider-Man. This hero can be useful to our plan. But as this is going on, we're seeing a breach in Oscorp's facility. We're seeing a breach in Oscorp's building. Ross now turns the phone back to Norman and tells Norman, while you're talking about your security measures, maybe your own Oscorp building needs new security. So when this happens, this causes Norman to cut the conversation short. He now calls Harry Osborn, and this is where we start to see the all too familiar hatred that Norman has for Harry Osborn. This hatred and this neglectful aspect of Norman Osborn's character, I like how they highlighted it in the show, because when he calls Harry Osborn, he doesn't want anything to do with Harry. He just wants Spider-Man on the phone. And he now tells Spider-Man, look, you have to come to Oscorp. My building has been breached. I need you there. But Spider-Man doesn't want to leave because he's hanging out with his friends. But Norman says, look, it won't take like 10 minutes. Just go there right now. So Peter, he now lies to Nico by telling Nico, oh, look, I need to get some sodas from the store. I'll be be back soon. So when Peter leaves, Harry and Nico, they're kind of awkward. Nico is still standoffish with Harry. Harry, he's open, but he doesn't really know what to say. But they now start to mingle, they start to talk, and the reason why they're starting to talk is because Harry is seeming to be interested with the dark arts that Nico is also interested in as well. But as they're talking and they're having a good conversation, Harry now exposes something without Spider-Man's consent. He exposes that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Now, this is because Harry already initially thought that Nico knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man, but she did not know. Peter and Nico were best close friends, and Nico was so heartbroken that she did not know what Peter Parker's biggest secret is, and she felt that the trust was broken because Peter Parker did not trust Nico strong enough to tell her this fact. But as this is going on, we see that Spider-Man, he reaches the Oscorp building and he is now interrupted by Daredevil. And I do not like Daredevil's costume in this show, and I do not like this trend that Marvel is continuing by not trying to show the DD logo on Daredevil's chest. That is Daredevil's iconic logo. Why are they always shying away from showing that? Now, even though I don't like Daredevil's costume, I really like how he was portrayed in the show, because Daredevil, the reason why he's at Oscorp's building is because he is trying to warn Spider-Man that, look, Norman Osborn is not who you think he is. He is lying to you. But they are fighting because Spider-Man is here to protect Norman Osborn. He's here to protect the Oscorp building. But Spider-Man's skills prove to be amateur compared to Daredevil's skills. So Daredevil, he gets the better of Spider-Man and he beats Spider-Man in the fight, knocking Spider-Man out. But before he did that, remember, he tells Spider-Man that, look, Norman Osborn is not who you think he is. So when Spider-Man now wakes up and Norman calls him and asks what happened, Spider-Man tells Norman that, look, I just got attacked by this devil dude, but he says that you're not who you are. He says that you have something that you're hiding. So Norman, he's actually hiding something, so he now does damage control by telling Peter that, look, I'll be up there soon, don't leave yet, I'll explain this in person. So when he now reaches Spider-Man's location in the building, he now tells Spider-Man that, oh, Dr. Octopus, he must have sent this devil guy because I've been following Dr. Octopus throughout New York City. I've been noticing that all of these criminals that are cropping up are because of Dr. Octopus. And I also noticed that Dr. Octopus is using this strange type of technology. He's using this strange type of new abilities that we'll soon know will be the gamma radiation. But as he's telling Spider-Man this, Spider-Man is slowly putting some 2 and 2 together, and he's slowly realizing that, what if Norman Osborn is lying? But before the episode ends, we see that Nico, she is so mad at Peter, man. Nico does not want anything to do with Peter, but this will continue in the next episode. But before I go into the next episode, I need to talk about Lonnie Lincoln. And Lonnie Lincoln, he is not having a great time. His old life is completely gone. He is kicked out of the football team. He has been missing class every single day, so that the teacher, she now reluctantly has to make Peter and Pearl be partners. So now we're seeing that Lonnie Lincoln's entire life is crashing down, and we're also seeing that he's being followed by this green car, and the person that is inside this green car is Camilla Black, aka Scorpion, and she is following Lonnie around the city, and Lonnie almost gets shot. He almost gets robbed, but that is not really Camilla's plan. Camilla's plan was to follow Lonnie, and she knew that Lonnie would run back to the hideout. That was Camilla's plan. But episode 7 now starts, and we see that Nico, she is not going to forgive Peter. It is not looking good for their friendship, man. Their friendship is shattered, and Peter is trying his best to basically talk to Nico. He's trying his best to basically apologize to Nico, but Nico is not having it. Peter destroyed her friendship. But as this is going on, this is where my problem creeps up, because during the fight with Daredevil and during the fight with Scorpion, we are noticing that Peter always needs help from Norman Osborn. We even notice that Peter has been needing help from Norman Osborn, and I don't like that. I don't like that Peter always needs his hand held when he's fighting villains, because Peter is known to beat villains' asses by himself. Peter has taken on the entire Sinister Six when he was a 15-year-old kid by himself. He took down Rhino, took down Electro, took down Dr. Octopus, took down Green Goblin, took down Shocker when he was 15 years old, when he did not reach college yet. He took down all of these villains, but in this show, Peter needs help to defeat low-class villains like Speed Demon, like Tarantula, and Unicorn. I'm like, bro, whoa, what's going on? Spider-Man, this is not you, my boy. Spider-Man, you need to lock in. You need to do things for yourself. And we're seeing that this is going to continue because Norman Osborn, he has finally detected the main source of Dr. Octopus's new tech, and he reveals to Peter that him and Dr. Octopus used to be allies. They used to be colleagues in the same field, but Dr. Octopus, he just became too rampant. He became too insane. And the reason why he became so insane was because Dr. Octopus wanted to use the element known as gamma radiation, and Norman was against that. So now we're seeing that Norman Osborn, he's trying to track Dr. Octopus's moves and locations by trying to detect gamma radiation. One thing I do like though is that they're making Peter Parker very smart. They're making Peter Parker very intelligent because he knows his science stuff. Me, I don't know anything about science like that. So when Peter was explaining the different type of science terms, I was just lost, but I liked how they kept his intelligence. But now that we see that there is a lock onto the gamma radiation, we now actually see that this lock is actually Scorpion, because Scorpion was gifted a new high equipment tech by Dr. Octopus, and Scorpion wants to use this high equipment tech to infiltrate the 110th Street gang's location, their main hideout. And they actually do that. Scorpion, he goes into the location, but during this we see that Pearl is at the same location as well, because throughout the episode she is frustrated that Lonnie Lincoln has been avoiding her. But she now gets a text from Lonnie Lincoln's younger brother, and Lonnie Lincoln's younger brother tells Pearl that, look, I know where Lonnie Lincoln's at, go there. And when Pearl goes there, their argument is interrupted by Scorpion, and Scorpion is just attacking everybody. I like how brutal they made Scorpion, because they made him impale one member of the gang, and it was actually bloody. But Spider-Man now goes there and he notices that, oh shit, Pearl and Lonnie Lincoln are at this place, I gotta save them. So he now saves both of them. Then the fight with Scorpion happens, and to be honest with you, I really like this fight, but my main problem still creeps back in this fight. The reason why I like this fight is because Scorpion is a force to be reckoned with in the show. Scorpion was beating the shit out of Spider-Man in this entire fight. Spider-Man was not ready for Scorpion. This is 2 L's in 2 episodes. Spider-Man lost to Daredevil and he lost to Scorpion. But during this fight, we see that Spider-Man, he is still needing the help of Norman Osborn. I'm like, oh my god, bro, can't you just do something by yourself, my nigga? Can't you just beat Scorpion by yourself? Can't you at least try to subdue him? As he's fighting, he now manages to subdue Scorpion by using all of his webs, and he now eventually runs out of web shooters. So he now always tells Norman Osborn, yo Norman, what do I do? Yo Norman, what do I do? Yo Norman, I need some help. But after the fight, temporarily, we see that Spider-Man is about to leave. So when that happens, Norman now turns off his communicator, and then the fight now continues because Scorpion's abilities are being influenced by gamma radiation. His new technology is being influenced by gamma radiation. Now, I don't like that aspect about Scorpion because, you know, in the comics, he did not really have any gamma radiation, and he did not have that, especially in his early encounters with Spider-Man. But in this show, he does have that. So he uses his newfound abilities to ask for a round 2, and now he's beating the shit out of Spider-Man because Spider-Man does not have any help. Spider-Man does not have any web shooters, and now he doesn't have the communication help from Norman Osborn, and we're seeing Spider-Man cry like a little girl. He's crying like a baby. He's screaming to Norman, Norman, help, help, help. And I don't like that because this resembles the current trash, disgusting, Amazing Spider-Man run by Zeb Wells, where we also saw Spider-Man screaming for help and crying for Tombstone to stop beating his ass. I don't like when Marvel makes Spider-Man a weak bitch, in my honest opinion, and Spider-Man gets his ass whooped in the show by Scorpion, and Norman Osborn only realizes that when he sees that the suit has been punctured, and Norman Osborn, when he now actually sends the iconic Green Goblin equipment to save Spider-Man, and Spider-Man barely got saved in this fight. But this is not the end of Scorpion. But Spider-Man, after this fight, after this episode is done, we see that the next episode, episode 8, Spider-Man, he is knocked out cold, man. But Norman Osborn helps resuscitate Spider-Man back to life. But Norman Osborn now tells Spider-Man, look, I can't have someone this weak on my team. I need someone that's stronger. So maybe we should reconsider our partnership. So basically, he kind of temporarily fires Norman. But let me go back to the Nico and Harry Osborn subplot, because Nico still is avoiding Peter Parker every second of the turn, but Harry Osborn shows up to Nico's house to apologize on behalf of Spider-Man and of behalf of himself. He said that, you know, he crossed a boundary by revealing something that he didn't know was never even revealed to her in the first place. So Nico and Harry now go out to get something to eat, and at first it was about to end off rocky. They were about to get into another argument, but Harry now tells Nico, look, you can drive my car if you want, you can test it out if you want, you know, since you don't know how to drive. But when Nico now actually is driving the car, they end up getting in a drag race with some other girl. Her name is Lydia. But after that drag race, we see that their friendship is really blossoming, and they're actually becoming great friends. I'm starting to think that they're trying to make a romantic relationship with these two, but I don't know yet. But I really like their friendship. I like how they're using Harry Osborn's character in the show, because they're making him feel the ramifications of being neglected by Norman Osborn, because he doesn't understand why Norman will always call Peter and not him. I'm your own son. And we also see this at the end of episode 8, because Norman, he wants Peter to have a meeting with him at the Oscorp building, and he tells Harry to leave, but Harry says, no man, I'm your son, like I want to stay here, you put me on this team. But Harry still eventually leaves, and I like how they're setting up the eventual Harry turning into Green Goblin, in my honest opinion. But the episode doesn't end yet, because we see that Dr. Octopus has been apprehended, and he was apprehended by Iron Man, because Iron Man now makes his first appearance in the show. And man, I will say that I love Iron Man's design in this show. It feels like it's ripped straight from the comics, in my honest opinion. They really made his suit look very, very great, but I don't like that they made Dr. Octopus get arrested so easily. I know that this is gonna make a setup for Dr. Octopus in season 2 potentially, but you know, I kind of felt like he was apprehended too anticlimactically, you know, in my honest opinion. But that's where the episode really ends, and we'll have to see what happens in episode 9. But we're also seeing that even before the episode has ended, we see that Lonnie Lincoln is becoming more vicious. He's becoming more rabid. He breaks up with Pearl, and this is causing Pearl to get closer with Peter. And Lonnie Lincoln doesn't care about anything about his old life. He just cares about what's happening in his new life. And they have the location of Scorpion's hideout thanks to the Chameleon, because the Chameleon is getting paid, or I think he got paid by the 110th Street Gang. I forgot that little part, but the Chameleon basically helps the 110th Street Gang find the location of the Scorpion hideout. Another thing I would like to point out is that Peter Parker's life is still boring. He still has no bullies. He still has no real adversities that he faces in school or even at his job in the internship at Oscorp. He really doesn't face any type of challenges. Sure, yeah, he does face the challenge of losing Nico Minoru as a friend and the challenge of juggling the friendships between Nico and Harry Osborn. He does face those challenges, but other than that, Peter Parker, in my honest opinion, is still not as interesting as Spider-Man in this show. The Peter Parker in this show is pretty boring, in my honest opinion. And that's the end of the episode. That's the end of the 3 episodes. Like I said, I do not like how they're making Spider-Man so dependent on help. They need to make Spider-Man independent himself. And I completely forgot something, because episode 8 ends off in an annoying way, in my honest opinion. They make Harry Osborn be the one to make and craft the classic Spider-Man suit for Spider-Man, because the Oscorp suit, aka the Future Foundation suit, was ripped and destroyed. So Harry made the classic suit for Spider-Man. I'm like, wait, why did they do that? In my honest opinion, it should be Peter Parker that should be the one to make his own Spider-Man suit. Peter Parker, in almost every iteration, has made his own Spider-Man suit, but then I not realized, oh wait, they're following the MCU trend again. Remember, the MCU trend had Iron Man make that suit for Spider-Man. Iron Man was the one that made his classic suit for Spider-Man, but now in this show, it's the Osborn family that did that for Spider-Man. They're making Spider-Man too dependent on help, too dependent on people. They need to make Spider-Man his own man. They need to make Spider-Man someone that can fend for himself, someone that can make resources for himself. Sure, yeah, he gets some occasional help here and there, but Spider-Man is usually a loner in his teens to early college years, man. That's the end of the video. I'm out. Peace.